I'm rolling with FD.
I'm going to drop a couple bombs on the FD channel right now.
Who you rolling?
I am rolling with FC.
I'm rolling with FD.
Let's do it. Let's go.
I'm rolling with FD, baby.
We are rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
Oh, you know we rolling with FD, baby.
We got alphas and bros in the house.
That's right.
Peace out, my brother.
Woo!
I'm rolling with the F, the D.
Learn something new every day when you're rolling with FD.
Yeah, we are rolling with FD, baby.
I roll with one person, and that's FD.
I'm rolling with FD, baby.
You gotta love it, man.
This is a family thing.
That's good. That's good, man.
Hey, Renee, who you rolling with?
Rolling with FD.
Rolling with FD.
You don't have to ask. I'm rolling with FD.
My man. But see, Bless, who you rolling with?
I'm rolling with FD.
I'm rolling with FD.
That's how you just rolling, right? That's the whole thing, right? You roll with it.
You gotta let me know who you rolling with.
We're rolling with FD. You heard it first.
I'm rolling with FD.
I am rolling with FD.
I'm not just a pretty face, JD. JD, we should both do it.
No, I'm doing that.
What questions do you have for me? Right, Manny and Jeremy, who you rolling with?
We're rolling with FD. We don't want to get our asses kicked.
You gotta let the people know who you rolling with, man.
Well, obviously I'm rolling with FD.
What's up, everybody? Monday, October 2nd, 6:06 p.m. How's everybody doing? Everybody doing well? I truly hope so. It's a football game on tonight. We'll have to see how that game goes. Giants versus the Seattle Seahawks. Let me know in the comments who you think is going to win. Big John, what's going on? How we doing? Hoping that all is well. Well, today is media day in the NBA. Got a lot of players in press conferences, making a lot of comments. Looks like guys are happy to be back with their teams. I can't wait to see how this thing pans out. It will surely be interesting. You got Dame on Milwaukee. What will Golden State do? Atlanta. Trae Young, will he be there the whole season? The Bulls, are they going to break that thing up? Who's going to win a championship? Joker, is he in shape? Did he enjoy himself a little bit too much in the offseason? We will see. We will see. Yeah, the NBA hype is a little bit low right now. Quite a bit low. But tonight we have a great guest on, two great guests. ClipsNDrew is here. We're going to talk a lot of things NBA basketball. Let's bring him in. Sir, how you doing?
FD, what's happening, man? Sorry for the technical difficulties there for a second.
Oh, it's all good, man. Things happen.
We're waiting on Drew right quick.
Yeah. Where are you located?
I'm in San Clemente, California, right by the beach, man. Living the beach
really?
dream. Yeah. Drew is down here too. He's down in San Diego now, so
okay.
Kind of close. He's like 30 minutes from me now.
All right, very cool.
Where are you at?
I am a little bit north of LA.
Where north? I'm from LA.
Right around Woodland Hills.
Oh, okay, cool. I'm from Glendale originally.
Okay.
Drew's
Cool. Yeah, I originally grew up in Chicago.
Okay.
Moved out here probably 13, 14 years ago. But then spent 2 years in Detroit and then came back.
I can tell by the Bears hat there. You're still repping the Bears. I like that. I for whatever reason, I thought you were from the Bay.
No.
Okay.
I'm a Golden State fan.
Oh boy.
But I am not from the Bay. I did live I lived in Northern California about an hour and a half from San Fran and Oakland at one time. But no, not from the Bay.
Well, we appreciate you having us on today.
Oh yeah. I mean, I enjoy you all's content.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We work really hard on it, man.
Very, very cool. I'm gonna wait on Drew until I just completely dive in. So do you follow Clips? Do you follow any football at all?
I'm not a big football. I mean, I follow all sports, but I mean, my passion in my life is basketball. I don't have a football team. Drew is the football, the fantasy guy. Drew's actually a big soccer and football guy too, which is crazy. But no, my life is basketball. If you can't tell my studio here,
I'm looking at everything. Yeah,
everything in my life is basketball, man.
Did you play basketball growing up?
I definitely did. I was a ball boy for the Clippers for 10 years. So that's like where my obsession with the Clippers started when I was 10. And, I worked for them for 10 years. I went and worked for the Grizzlies. I did some stuff for the Hawks for a while. And then, I played a lot. I was a bit of a street baller my whole life. Drew's trying to hop in here saying his camera's not working. God, it's always Drew that's late. This guy's never on time either.
No, it's all good, man. It's all good.
I was a street ball cat for a long time, dude. Played Venice Beach. I'm a Venice Beach champion. And then kind of just wanted to pivot once my playing days I knew were coming to an end. And that's where the ideas for the podcast started.
Oh, very cool. Drew, what's up, man?
What's going on, guys?
What's going on
how
with
do I
you?
get in frame?
Oh,
I'm a little too close. I feel like I gotta back up here. There we go. Hold on. Let me try to find the sweet spot.
Yeah, we
How's
were
it going,
just
brother?
talking a little bit about a background. Tell us about your background. Where you grew up at, how you became such a sports fan.
So I grew up in Los Angeles, kind of bounced around. Born in San Clemente, so initially Orange County, and then when I was young, kind of bounced around the valley. So lived in Woodland Hills, and then went to high school in like the Calabasas area.
Okay.
My dad moved out here when he was very young and lived in Orange County for most of his life. Fell in love with the Jerry West Lakers. So my fandom specific to the Lakers started when I was born. It was not really an option. It wasn't a choice. It was on the TV. We watched every game, listened to Chick Hearn.
Okay.
And that's, it's been the longest love affair of my life is what I like to call it.
So let me dive in, since you said Lakers. Right? Let me just dive in. Austin Reeves. Who is he?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Who is he as a player, man? What can we expect from him?
Austin Reeves is one of my favorite players in all of the NBA. Highly underrated coming out of Oklahoma. I actually was shocked that he didn't get drafted. I'm sure every team now is like, oh, well, we missed that one.
Mm-hmm.
But the type of player he is, I think he's a playmaker first and foremost. I mean, going back to his years in college and his first couple of years now in the NBA, he's not selfish, but has incredible feel for the game. And is willing to he has the confidence and is willing to take and make difficult shots as well. But I think first and foremost, he just tries to play within the scheme, take advantage of the opportunities that present themselves through his ball handling, through his passing ability.
Okay.
And I think the last piece of that is going to be his jump shot, which is going to continue to improve, especially the catch and shoot. We saw it was at a really low number his rookie year. It got better, and I think that will continue to improve. But talking about Austin Reeves, especially with the players that he's playing with now, Austin Reeves may not be very special if he's in Charlotte or Portland, but having that kind of,
I think him playing with LeBron helps him.
Absolutely. And playing with Anthony Davis, playing with other good players makes him better. And he's, the weakest spot for him is defense. So that's really important to have those important players that are able to help him defend, like LeBron and AD as well. But I just think he's a steal. Like, we got so lucky that nobody picked him up in the draft, and still, again, kind of lucky this offseason that nobody seemed to want to put a lot of money up for him other than us. So I'm stoked on Austin Reeves. I think he's only going to get better.
So, Clips, let me ask you, Clippers fan, do you think Kawhi and Paul George can play this season without getting hurt?
Play the whole season without getting hurt?
Yeah.
No. It ain't going to be like that.
Okay.
I'm hoping. I mean, just like every conversation I have about the Clippers, it's all about health. I think Kawhi looks great. I think PG looks great. Even today at Media Day, just seeing how all the boys were working together. Russell looks extremely happy. They tried to ask Kawhi a few questions regarding, load management.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he didn't seem too happy about the question. And he seemed to act like he didn't even know what the rules were moving forward. But he basically wanted to let people know that, like, he's not sitting because he wants to sit. He's sitting because he's hurt or injured. And so I'm really excited for this season. I think I'm excited every year, though. I tend to get my my feelings hurt at the end of every season, but I'm kind of numb to it now, FD. Kind of numb to it.
I can see that. But I always wonder some of these teams, and it's not just the Clippers. There are just certain players. Like, my opinion, we're putting Phoenix together. Will those big three get through the season without probably just one person being on the court at some point? I'm looking at Milwaukee. Dame's constantly hurt. Doesn't play a lot of great defense. What do y'all think about those two teams and what you project for them in the season?
Go ahead, Drew.
All right, so let's start with Milwaukee. Right, that's the hottest one out there. The biggest problems that I see are two. It's about depth, and it's about the coaching. But those are two relatively small problems that can work themselves out over the course of the season. They can pick up players. They can make another small trade to solidify the bench. And while Adrian Griffin's a very capable coach, it's his first time being a head coach, and this is a lot of expectations on a first-time head coach. But expectations is, I think, what your question was. I expect them to make the finals, Milwaukee. I absolutely expect them to make the finals. I expect them to make this work. And I know that I think they picked up Cameron Payne today. I think I saw that. So they're already starting to add, some guard depth, and I think that will continue. They probably have maybe 2 or 3 more signings I think they'll go through before making the final roster. But I think the biggest problem that Milwaukee had prior to Dame and with Drew, and part of the reason why, unfortunately, I think Drew needed to go in this trade when you have this opportunity, is the offense really slowed down. And now with Dame, especially in those half-court moments where, Giannis isn't great breaking down half-court defenses. He can overpower, he can drive real hard, and he can always get to the free throw line and things like that, but it's not the prettiest, and it doesn't always work because they can clog the middle. Now with Dame, they should have no half-court problems at all. He can save them. I mean, with 7 seconds on the clock, if the first 2 sets didn't work and they're going to run through it again, just give it to him at the top, run the pick and roll with Giannis. Something good's going to happen out of that. So even though Drew ended up on the Celtics, which is fantastic for Celtics fans, I hate it. I'm as a Lakers fan. I still think the Bucks should make the finals. And the Suns, they have a tougher task. The West Coast is stacked. The Western Conference is very, very deep this year. And injury, as you brought up, is going to be a major component. Every single one of their stars is susceptible to go down to injury, except for maybe Booker. I think he's probably the one that's most reliable. But Nurkic, the guy that just got injured all the time. Kevin Durant, crazy injury history. Bradley Beal has had his own injury history. So their task is going to be much, much taller, I think. And I think in the West, I'll just say this. I don't see any team in the West, Denver included, getting over 55 wins. I just think they're all going to chip away at each other. It's going to be really, really tight at the top this year. So if the Suns are in the top 3 seeds, I think they can view that as a success, especially if they're healthy going into the playoffs.
Clips, what do you think?
Yeah, I think Drew summed it up. I mean, Milwaukee's issue all season was having shots at the end of the shot clock, right? Guys to close games. And Giannis isn't that guy to take the last second shot. I mean, Drew has hit big shots in his career, but Dame's just the guy for that. He's the guy. I expect them to be in the finals. I think, like Drew said, they need a couple more pieces. I think being proactive and getting guys like Campaign, and mind you, Campaign is one of my least favorite players. I do not.
One of mine as well.
And once he was waived, I'm like, man, if the Clippers pick up Campaign, I'm going to be in so much trouble because I have said so many things about this man on my podcast.
You guys got Primo. You don't have to worry about that.
I don't even want to talk about Josh Primo. I don't want to talk about this. In the group chat, FD, trust me. I was not happy. I've never been in more low. Out of all of these players, give me Campaign. And I'm sure Josh Primo is going to be fine, but I'd rather have Campaign than we get this guy with this history on our team. Out of all these awesome players that these teams are picking up for pennies on the dollar, we're like, yeah, Josh Primo, that's the guy. So
I totally derailed the conversation there. Go back to your point about Milwaukee.
What were we talking about?
Milwaukee.
FT, you got to listen, bro. So sometimes I get fired up. And
it's all good, bro. Come with it.
What else were we talking about? Phoenix Suns. Look, yeah. I think Ishbia being in Phoenix, I've never seen an owner do what he's doing in the small amount of time that he's done. It's very Ballmer-esque as far as coming out there and really throwing the money around. They want the championship this year. I think I still don't understand the Bradley Beal piece, but for the price that they got Bradley Beal at, like, you have to do it. Give that to me 100 times over for what they had to give up for Shamit. What else was it, Drew? It was Shamit and somebody else, whoever the hell it is.
Well, Jordan Poole ended up being the big thing.
Right. Poole. Excuse me, Poole as well, which I'm sure
talk about Poole later. Yeah,
we will. I'm just curious to see how it all works out. And they also, they have 11 players on minimum deals, vet minimum deals, which is can be a little, I don't know. I think for the price that they got all these mid-level guys for, it's pretty impressive, but I just don't see how Booker, Beal, and KD are really going to make it work. I'm curious to see.
I don't see it at all.
Right. Like, which one of them is going to be the most pissed off come December is my question, right? What do you think?
Well, Phoenix, I just always think about these teams. You get these guys together, going back to Brooklyn, they're supposed to be such a great team, but the fluidity of the team is just never there. I don't understand how Phoenix works at all. Who's taking the last shot? Who's the man on that team? Who's the defensive stopper? I look at all these people. I don't see a defensive stopper. Then I jump over to Milwaukee. I think if I'm a coach, I'm going to come out and try to expose Dame Lillard in the post, to do whatever I can defensively to wear him out and to make him look a certain way. Because I have not seen in 12 years of him playing, have you seen a defensive highlight?
No, he's actually statistically one of the worst. He's ranked 245th.
And we don't talk about that. Nobody's talking about that. People are talking about the shot he hit in front of PG, but nobody. This year he's going to be tested severely. So those are the things. When I look at these teams, as soon as I hear these names come across, I start thinking about, okay, so Middleton's always hurt, right? So now let's say Middleton's out. Probably after about 35, 40 games, Middleton's going to be somewhere in street clothes. So now you got Dame with Giannis, and Dame doesn't really play defense. And Dame, the last several years, it could be because he wanted to be traded or he was really injured. After 55, 60 games, he's not playing anymore. He came out and made a statement, I think, to someone recently that they took him out because they wanted a higher draft pick and he thought he was leaving anyway. If that's the case, Dame goes back and forth, and it's kind of frustrating because for him to say he wants to be traded, I don't want to play with Scoot. And then they extend. He says he wants to come back, and the owner tells him no. None of that interaction.
I don't believe that, actually. I don't see that happening. I think
it seems real.
No, that's actually it's sour to me. Like the way that Dame left, the song coming out, and Drew and I haven't even talked about it on our show yet, and we will probably on the next one, but just the timing of the song dropping, like what was said in some of those bars, it rubbed me the wrong way. And I'm not a Portland fan. I love Damian Lillard. We are very pro Damian Lillard, but I'm also very like, you sign the contract. He got his extension, he got his bread, and then he wants out. He's doing exactly what he would call out other players for doing. You know what I'm saying? I think if anybody in the NBA deserves a great opportunity to win a championship, it's Dame. And the fact that Milwaukee came in, stepped up, and got Dame, it's great for Giannis too, that the owners are trying to help Giannis get what he wants, right? Because they are scared. They are so scared this guy's going to leave. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. I personally want to see Phoenix fail. I want this to blow up in their faces.
Oh, it will. Don't worry about it.
I want it to be so, and I want DeAndre Ayton to thrive. I really want him to thrive in Portland. I had a conversation yesterday. One of my friends is Bobby Hurley. He comes down. He's in San Clemente a lot. We had a discussion yesterday. He was actually over here at the house, and we were talking about Drew Holiday getting traded, and he was like, look, DeAndre Ayton was working out I was working out my son at our gym at Arizona State, and DeAndre Ayton was working out this week. And he's all, let me tell you, dude, I know what they say about him, and he's kind of a head case and whatnot, but he was nice. I watched his whole workout. I made my son watch his whole workout. You don't see too many big men with the fundamentals this guy has. Now, maybe Chauncey Billups can, kind of reel him in and like bring the best talent out of him. But I'm really excited for DeAndre Ayton. We all know that he hated it in Phoenix, and
Yeah.
Even though Chris is gone and Monty's gone,
Mhm.
it was time for them to move on.
I looked at him and I always thought, is he doing this on purpose to get moved? Because it didn't. When he was at Arizona, that's a player. When he first came out, that's a player.
Mm-hmm.
You see him drifting and doing certain things that you really don't see someone with his tenure in the NBA doing. We will see. Now let's jump to Portland. Portland picked up a lot of players.
I'm stoked on him. I mean, this is the best example of rebuilding right now. Drew and I are both huge Scoot guys. I am all in on Scoot. I think they are going to love him in Portland. I think his work ethic is top notch. Everything that I've seen so far, just this guy has superstar written all over him. I love gym rats. I love people that, love the game and work on the game as much as they can. I think it's going to be real interesting with the young legs of Shaden Sharp. And then we got Anthony Simons, and now we're bringing DeAndre Ayton in the mix. You got Jeremy Grant, who at some point, even he's probably the highest paid player on the team right now.
Yes. Oh, definitely.
Like, if Jeremy Grant thinks that makes him the boss, it's that he's sadly mistaken.
He's the veteran. He's the veteran, that's for sure.
He's definitely the veteran. They kind of are giving me the Sacramento Kings vibe from last year. Like, I'm really interested. They're going to be the league pass team that I'm going to be interested in watching.
I think they're going to have a lot of highlights coming out of there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. They're not going to win that many games, I don't expect, right? Like the Kings made a huge leap, so maybe they're the Kings from like 5 years ago, maybe.
I didn't say they were going to win, Drew. I didn't say they were going to be winning ball games. I said I want to watch them play.
That's really exciting. Do you think that did Sacramento do anything to make themselves better?
Well, I think they brought in the 7-footer.
JaVale McGee, right?
Yeah, I think that was literally the last piece. They just never really had a rim protector, and I think Sabonis, for as good as he is, can only do so much on the defensive end while taking a lot of the offensive pressure. I mean, the guy gets beat up every game because he's an undersized 5, and I think even just in rotation, having JaVale in and out of the lineup, spelling Sabonis for periods of time will be huge. Because JaVale can run. That's the other thing too. Like they like to move. JaVale go run down the floor, get an alley-oop or an easy 2, no problem. And I think they also can play together. I mean, Sabonis has played the 4 in the past. I think he excels in that role. So I would say they could have made themselves better by not re-signing Harrison Barnes and going after some of these other, potential 3 or 4s, like a Jeremy Grant. I think that would have been an improvement, but they weren't going to go as much as Portland did for Jeremy Grant. Nobody else was. But I think they improved incrementally, and they're going to build on what they did last year. Seems like Clips, you got something to say.
I'm just wanted to point out and go on the record and say I would much rather have JaVale McGee than Josh Primo. I just wanted to say that. Oh, yeah. I can't believe we didn't throw our hat in the ring for JaVale McGee. Anyways, don't get me.
Personally, I wanted JaVale to go back to Golden State, but that didn't happen.
Yeah,
I think with JaVale, he gets a bad rap sometimes, but the guy knows his role, right? And when you want somebody that's going to play defense and rebound, and he's still very athletic, he can still play the game. I would love a JaVale McGee to back up Zubac on the Clippers, right? I think he's going to do fine in Sacramento. They did get, I know Rashawn Holmes got, kind of lost on the bench on that squad. Another guy I would have liked to pick up at some point, but I like JaVale. I think it's those players that are the difference makers with these teams. Like, it's cool that Dame is on the Bucks, and obviously it's a huge deal, but it's these little moves like the Gabe Vincents for the Lakers, right? And the JaVale McGee's, these little things, that the Grant Williams for Dallas, whatever. But those are the littler moves that I like more than the big splash moves.
I agree with that. Golden State. Do you think CP3 can play with that team? Do you think they still need another big man in their rotation?
I don't understand. I still haven't figured out why CP is on the Golden State Warriors. And Drew will get into his thoughts on that.
I have some thoughts, I think.
I just look, if CP is the backup to Steph Curry, it works. I love it, right? But if there's this universe where they think that these two are going to be starting, and I think they're going to try it at the beginning of the year, I don't see that working. And we all know CP's history about playing with young guys too. Like, it doesn't really pan out too well, right? I'm more curious about Kuminga's progress. I'm more curious about how they're going to utilize him and his talents. But Drew will tell you what he thinks. He doesn't think CP is going to be there come February.
Oh, okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
I think the only way that it makes any sense in my head is if this is just a pit stop, and in the first half of the season they rotate minutes so that Steph can get some rest and Clay can get some rest and everyone can kind of just be ready to go as the season progresses. They are all getting older now, obviously, but to me, I think they're going to just wait and potentially flip Chris. I thought I initially thought it was going to happen much faster once they got him, that they would then flip him for something else. But I mean, look, Steve Kerr came out and said that they have 6 starters right now. The only problem is there's only 5 that can start. So who of those 5, all very proud guys, is going to take the bench seat? Everyone, I think. I mean, I would vote for Chris Paul to sit. I think Clips, you just stamped that as well. FD, I don't know what you think, but would you start Chris Paul and sit one of these other guys? I think he's got to come off the bench, right?
Oh, I think he's going to come off the bench, but he's going to start just like Jordan Poole used to start, to spare someone else, to give someone else a rest night, things like that. I actually think CP3 is going to work very well with Kuminga on the second team. Running a lot of roles, doing a lot of stuff to the rim, playing his 12-foot, 10-foot jumper. I think that's what they're going to do. But you're only going to see him start when it's time for Steph to have a night off, or Steph has a nick or a bang. Then he's going to sit down. Then you're going to see CP3 start. And then you may even see Draymond rotate in with the second team just like he did last year. And if that happens, if CP3 is rolling with Kuminga, I'm excited. That excites me. But if he's – and I think the statement Clips about him being a starter is a respect statement. Curry's not going to come out in the press conference and say, this guy's a bench player. He's going to say, I got a vet here. He's a starter. Yeah. We've asked him to play this role, but he's really a starter. And out of respect, I think this, and this. Because Curry is all about – I watched many press conferences of his. He's all about setting the tone when he's talking. And he's also talking to his players while he's in the press conference, more than most coaches that you see. So that's my thoughts on it.
I think Golden State is now with CP. They're like the smartest team in the NBA. They got some savants on the team, and that's including Draymond, that's including Steve Kerr, that's including Steph Curry and C3. Like that, this is going to be the smart. If these guys can collectively come out with the right game plan on how they're going to approach the season, how they're all going to gel, because like you had mentioned in the beginning of the show, it's about fluidity and teamwork, right? And chemistry. Chemistry is the most important thing. I said on our last show, I don't mean to go back to Dame, but like they needed to do this trade because they need to have Giannis and Dame in training camp, right? They have to have training camp together and man, when they figure out the pick and roll with Dame and Giannis, it's going to be insane. It's going to be Malone Stockton 2.0 if they can figure it out. But back to Golden State, if they can collectively come up with the game plan on how to approach this season the smartest way. They are older, but they are wiser. And I think that means a lot in NBA basketball. It's not all about athleticism as we're seeing with this AAU generation. You got to outsmart these guys, and I think Golden State can do that.
Big John is always here, and he makes a statement that CP3 will probably be able to cut down his turnovers being in this situation. I can definitely see that.
I mean, think about – look, man, if Chris Paul is your backup point guard, that is pretty amazing, okay? Yeah. Like this, it's an awesome asset to have.
Oh, yeah.
But, okay. And I'm a huge Chris Paul fan. Chris Paul changed our lives as Clipper fans. It wasn't great with him leaving, but Chris Paul has a very special place. I have a huge picture of him back here. But I'm curious to see. There's so many storylines this year, FD. So many storylines.
Many. And we don't. That's because we don't know who's taking the torch of the NBA. Who's going to run with that thing? We do not know. I saw something today about executive scouts and some other people in the league voting on who they thought were going to be the next. Who's going to take the torch and be the leaders in the NBA? And the votes will spread all over the place. Giannis got the most, I think, was 6 out of 15 people talked to. But Jason Tatum also got one. So nobody really knows what's going on. And we're spectators, and we love basketball, and we don't know. And, you know, I also talk to people that have collectibles of the sport, and nobody really knows what's going on. There's no Jordan. There's no Steph after Steph. At least we don't know who that person is yet. That could be someone that's in 8th grade or a freshman in high school right now that's about to dominate in 4 or 5 years. We don't know that. We can only get.
Have you seen any interest peak specifically about Wembanyama in that regard? Like, I feel like he's got to be the one that people are waiting for, right? If there is one new guy that might be the most
People are either
exciting.
waiting for him or waiting to tear him down. It's one or the other. I look at him as a guy. Is he a 3? I don't know, but that's part of the on play. But can he defend the 3? And then what is his jump shot like? We like to compare him to people like to compare him to KD, but he doesn't have that kind of jump shot. He's not blazing from the jumper. So what is he going to do? He's going to put the ball on the court and take it to the cup. This is what I want to see. Who is this guy? Once you get beyond, I'm at a circus and that's the tallest guy I've ever seen. Who is he as a basketball player?
I think you can work on your jump shot. You can teach a jump shot. You can't teach 7-3 with athleticism. So I think starting at the baseline of Wembanyama, he's going to be just fine. I think if Luka didn't get at least 3 or 4 of those votes that you were talking about, I think Luka's definitely. Yeah, I think I understand Giannis. I understand Luka, Tatum. I see that. But you're right. I think the talent, we're at an era right now in the NBA and in sports in general where the talent pool is just absolutely insane. And that's why it's like, even I'm not mentioning Josh Primo again. I'm not mentioning Primo again, but there's so much talent out there that we can't, it's like with this Kevin Porter Jr., right? Like we can do without Kevin Porter Jr. There's other people that can, since this guy blew his opportunity, like why do we need to keep saving Kevin Porter Jr.? Let one of these guys that is working their asses off come in and get an opportunity to play. Right now, I also believe in second chances. So if this is Josh Primo's second chance and he can come out and ball out for whatever we need him for, then good. He didn't hurt anybody. He's just a little freaking weird in the head right now. Okay, the guy needs counseling.
It's a different story.
Yeah,
very, very different. So who do you think is the best? If you had to right now, and we can look at this later on this season, just your initial thoughts. Who's the best player from the 2023 draft? Is it Wemby? Is it Scoot? Is it Miller? Who do you think is going to really shine?
I mean, I'm all in on Scoot, and then Amen. Yeah. Scoot and Amen that I got to watch. He was so good, so nice. His skill and talent set. It's just when you look at Scoot, man. I mean, this guy is just chiseled, right? He's super built. He's smart. Obviously, like we have super high expectations for Wembo. I already said that I think Scoot's going to win Rookie of the Year. But they still have to win basketball games for that. But I think there's a lot of talent, man. And as I get older, it's just so wild to see some of these guys that are 18 and 19 with just the level of talent that they have. It's mind-blowing.
Very true.
I got to say that Clips has been on the Scoot Henderson train like since the first year of the G League. So I'm not shocked to hear him say that he thinks Scoot's going to be the guy out of these guys. I think out of those 3, Victor clearly has the highest ceiling, because we don't know how good he can be. And I do think he can turn into Kevin Durant eventually, and like a 7'3" version of that. He may not have the handles or may not get to that level, but he could be like a B+ Kevin Durant at 7'3". That sounds pretty good. And that sounds kind of like Porzingis at his best version. So I think at least he'll be serviceable given what Porzingis did last year. Who knows how long Wembo will be able to do that. But I think my favorite player is actually Anthony Black, Orlando Magic out of Arkansas. I love this kid. I think he, just like Scoot, obviously Scoot's the most NBA ready out of those top 3. But Anthony Black, I think that guy's going to play for 15 years. I just think his game is solid. He can play point. He can defend multiple positions. He's athletic. That's a guy that I think could ultimately, when we all look back on this, we may, Wembanyama may be a flash in the pan, and Scoot may have a great 12, 14-year career, but I think Anthony Black could be the one that ends up with like a 16, 18-year career. If I
can't wait to see Scoot step out and play defense on Anthony Edwards.
That's going to be fun.
I think we're also forgetting something about Wembo really quick, is that he couldn't have gone to a better organization. If you're gonna, you have 3 people in Duncan and Parker and Ginobili and Pop, obviously, that are going to teach this kid everything he needs to know about basketball. It couldn't have been a better situation for him. Thank God he did not go to Charlotte, right? And just be loved. Thank God that did not happen. Okay, and I don't think Adam Silver was not gonna let it happen either.
No. It's a black hole. No, especially no defense being played. What do you all think of Anthony Edwards and LaMelo Ball?
I love Anthony Edwards. I thought he was going to be the best player on the U.S. men's team that went out this summer. He was the best player on the team. he has like the killer instinct. He's got all the tools as far as athletically that you would want. He's got a nice jumper. I just think I desperately, like, secretly before Drew got traded to the Celtics, I was like, can the Timberwolves bring Drew Holiday in somehow? Can they trade somebody for Drew Holiday? I think that they could have done something pretty special with the two of them in the backcourt. I think Anthony Edwards is just going to continue to get better as he wants to, right? Like, I think he had a lot of fun the first couple of years. There wasn't not a whole lot of expectations on the Timberwolves. And through that, we've seen him do unbelievable highlight level dunks. And I think at times we've seen him be like an elite defender in possessions.
Mm-hmm.
He can be an unbelievable on-ball defender. So that's all that stuff is just like, when it matters, if they can get into winning scenarios, like where they're fighting for a better seed than the 8 seed or something like that, maybe potentially this year, who knows? I think Karl-Anthony Towns might be traded pretty soon. I think the Knicks might go for him pretty quickly.
Well,
maybe there's a Julius Randle. Maybe there's a Julius Randle trade with Cat. But I think Anthony Edwards Minnesota should be so thankful that he fell to them. Like, they got the number 1 pick and that was the guy. And I think he'll be there for as long as they can possibly keep him there. He's one of the best young players we have.
You got any thoughts on LaMelo Ball?
Yeah, that's the Charlotte. That goes back to the Charlotte comment that Clips made about Wenbo. I think it's the unfortunate reality is that I think he's also special. I got to, being in LA and hearing about the Ball brothers coming through. I got to watch LaMelo play as like a freshman for Chino Hills.
Mm-hmm.
The famous like half court shot, he hit that out in Palm Desert. I was there at that game. I've known that he was special, and I actually thought he would be, before he grew, I didn't think there was a chance. But then when he sprouted to his height, I thought, all right, he might be the best of the three. I just think he needs something to play for. Right now, they don't have much to play for other than to, play basketball because he loves basketball and to show off and show his talents and stuff like that. But I would love to see him in a game that matters, right? Like, it's hard to judge somebody if you're just losing constantly and there's no actual competitive nature to
cool highlights, bro. Cool highlights.
Yeah, I think he's capable. Like, I just don't, we haven't seen it. So before I can say, like, I think Anthony Edwards is clearly the better player between the two of them. Both are fun and young and exciting. And I think together they actually would play great together as a backcourt, by the way. I think that would be awesome, having LaMelo throw the ball to Ant Edwards. But I think just it's unfortunate situation for LaMelo.
I agree. I just want to see who LaMelo is.
Yeah.
And it's hard to evaluate him in Charlotte because of what they do and what they don't do. Hopefully this season we'll get a chance to see that. He sprained his ankle early last year on a very fluke play. Then on a crossover, he cracks his ankle.
Yep.
So we're going to see. And hopefully, I mean, I don't know if things are genetic. None of us know. But the things that are facing his brother as far as lower extremities, will it be something that plagues his career? We do not know. But it'd be nice. It'd be nice to see what he does. Big John says, I think Ball loves fame more than basketball. He posted pictures to Instagram one time, which cracked me up. He's in a convenience store, like a 7-Eleven, showing off his car and his new front, like his new teeth.
Yeah, I know, right?
He does some stuff, man.
I would agree with the fame thing 100%. I mean, they started their own like clothing company. They started their own brand. They started their own Facebook show. They left to go play in Eastern Europe. All of that was just for the clout, I think, mostly. Because LaMelo would have been much like very highly recruited player if he just stayed and did, ran the course out here, did the high school program, maybe went to college or the G League or whatever. But I think he probably would have improved his draft stock. That was the problem, is like so many people were confused by the path that he took. And I think the fame point is accurate. But again, I can't blame him for that because he hasn't had the opportunity to be a winner. So it's like, I mean, can we be angry that he's living his life? Dude's a multimillionaire. Like, I would love to be at 7-Eleven with a new grill and my Lamborghini out front. I would do that.
Yeah. He's been famous for almost a decade. You know what I mean? We said on our last show, we asked one question for every NBA team, like one question that we thought each NBA team needed to do to get better in the 2024 season. When we got to Charlotte, my answer was that they needed to get off Gordon Hayward's contract and surround LaMelo Ball with talented basketball players that he can run with and play with. And they need to salvage whatever kind of excitement that they have with Airbnb, with Bridges coming back after his hiatus from his little thing that he went through. They're going to have plenty of highlights and whatnot, but at what point, when are you going to start to try to win basketball games? When are you going to start to try to make the playoffs? When are you going to, just do something other than be bottom of the barrel? Because if you can name 10 players on the Charlotte Hornets right now, I'd really love for people to do that.
Well, Kelly Oubre said today in his media day that he was happy to be on a team that wants to win something.
Yeah.
And who'd Oubre go to now? I forgot. Where's he
Sixers?
Sixers. Great. Yeah, great pickup.
Yeah.
Good job, Sixers. Yeah. Another one the Clippers blew.
Now, you all know the background now. So Kelly Oubre is married to and having children with James Harden's old girlfriend.
Oh, well, I didn't know
I was unaware of that.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Didn't know that.
So for sure, I don't see. I mean,
so that was just Daryl Morey just doing James Harden dirty like that. Like James Harden has signs in the club. Daryl Morey goes, "How about this? I'm gonna sign."
He knew this. You knew Morey.
It's the usher. Damn. It's the usher. Watch this.
That I feel like that's checkmate right there. I think that's maybe the best move I've ever heard of.
It's pretty wild stuff, man. Any player you can pick out at small forward, 2 guard, you get that guy right there.
Yeah. There's no shortage of talent. We covered that. A lot of 20-point per game scores. Kelly Oubre. Wow, there you go.
That's Golden State. He'll put shots up. He's not going to defend anybody. But he'll put shots up.
Yeah, he won't. Yeah, he won't defend very well. But
what do you all think about the Detroit Pistons? Do you think anything is there?
5 years from now, maybe.
Yeah,
but I think that's the plan. I think that is the plan.
That is the plan.
That Monty Williams 6-year deal, big money for Monty, and it's not about now. It's the now has to be, can Cade Cunningham be healthy? Like can you get him and his body and all those ligaments up to snuff? Because that's a very talented player. Like that's a kid that you can definitely build around. And I think they're starting to do that. To Clips's point earlier, there's a tremendous amount of young talent in the NBA. The average age is younger than it's ever been in previous seasons. There's just a bunch of young guys, and a lot of them are located in Detroit, and including Wiseman and Bagley, and some of these guys that have made stops elsewhere. I think Monty will come in with a plan. They'll try and execute, but it's not right now. They should be like, let's see how many losses we can tally.
Yeah.
But I think if the core is Cunningham and Jaden Ivey and literally any of the other really talented young players they have there, if they can find 6 guys that they can really ride with and make some moves here and there and draft well, I would accelerate to that even maybe 3 or 4 years. They could be competitive in the East. But it's right now it's more, they're in the Charlotte realm. They're with Charlotte. The fans are going to watch some fun basketball happen, maybe watch their favorite player on the other team come and visit and play, and maybe see some highlights because they got plenty of those in there.
I think there's potential. There definitely is potential there. I like
it right now, though, right? It's
well,
later.
Okay. Let's have a full season with Cade and Ivy together, right? Like both of these guys are really good. Jalen Duren showed a lot of prospect. What is going on with James Wiseman? You know what I mean? You bring him in for the P. You also, like you had mentioned, Bagley. So you have 3 players playing the same position: Bagley, Duren, and Wiseman, right? Yep. We want to see, and Wiseman is 22 years old. I've said that, I've mentioned it to Drew many a time, but when I got to see Wiseman in the summer league, I was standing next to him, and the man was absolutely gigantic. This guy,
I've heard he's bigger than what you think at 7'1".
Man, it was the first thing I said on our show when I got back to summer league. I said, "Bro, James Wiseman is gigantic." And if he fills out and figures out, his place in the NBA, Golden State gave up on him very early. He's 22 years old. And again, I mentioned Jalen Duren. I loved, Drew had mentioned how much I love Scoot. I love Jaden Ivey. Like this was the guy that I was all in last year. I'm still all in on him. So let's give Detroit a little bit of time, but they're going to be fighting for the bottom. I think they can be better than the bottom. Like let's go for 13 in the East.
I got a hot take for you though. Don't
love
be
hot takes.
surprised if the Detroit Pistons are in a play-in situation.
I would love that.
Don't be shocked.
I would love that. That would be great.
They have a lot of talent. What can that talent do together? They, the backup guard Sasser. They got some people on that team that's not bad.
Well, and Monty's there, right? You paid Monty the big bucks, so he's going to come in and he's good with the young kids, right? That's why they brought him in there. He's good with the young talent. What's that?
Didn't work so well with him and Aiden, but other than that young kid, he's been good. I would say too, like starting in any franchise that's been struggling, what you want to see as a fan is like building some sort of foundation, building like a culture, and building towards like eventual progress. Like build a map, you know. Mm-hmm. And if I was the Detroit Pistons fans, I'd be happy with Larry Drew and the rest of the people that are there, including Monty, that are just like starting to build something, like taking a page out of some of these more successful, like San Antonio, Miami Heat kind of playbooks.
Big John has a question here. What do you see Harden going?
To the club. To the club. Pretty much. That's where I see him going.
But he's going to pick a club in another country, though.
It could. Look, I think this guy just burned his bridge. If I don't have to mention James Harden's name for another 6 months, I'll be happy. This is all we've just been discussing. There was all the trade rumors about him coming to the Clippers. I was over that early. He played his cards and it didn't work out. He wanted to bogart his way to Houston one more time. Once Ime is there and they paid Van Vliet and they get Dylan Brooks in there, that wasn't going to work out anymore. He obviously burnt the bridge and soured his relationship with Daryl Morey in Philadelphia, and he's realizing that a lot of teams don't want to pay $37 million for a player that's most likely just going to bounce once he doesn't get his way one more time. And it's sad because James Harden is one of the best talents we've had in the last 15, 20 years. He is a great offensive player. He did have the one great game in the playoffs last year, but then followed by 3 horrible games. It's his MO. He is not good in the playoffs, right? He's not a winning player. I think somebody will pay him. I don't think it's going to be a team that James Harden wants to go to. And I think if the Clippers, if Philly finally says, forget it, man, give us Marcus Morris and the two second-round picks, we'll take it. Then I'll take James Harden. But there's a reason why we're not giving up Terrence Mann. They wanted Terrence Mann, and we're not going to give him up because Terrence Mann. I love Terrence Mann.
I like him a lot.
And he's homegrown. We drafted him. We've molded him. He's had playoff games. We love him. So we're not going to get rid of him for a James Harden rental. And like we had said a few times on this show, it's James Harden isn't the piece that we need for the Clippers. It's these other pieces. I want to see how Bones Highland works out. I want to see the Plumlee. Plumlee took less money. Westbrook took less money. We got Norman Powell, who's a really good basketball player. Mm-hmm. And I think some people like Harden would just mess all this up, dude. I want to run it. I think so.
He would.
And we got to stop giving players like, oh, I want to play in LA, so just make it happen, right? And Dame, oh, I want to play in Miami, just figure it out, guys. Like, no, it doesn't work.
I think these owners are getting together, and this is why this stuff is happening, because they're saying we're not going to let the players run the league.
No, I think there are some players that deserve the respect, like the Steph Currys, like the Damian Lillards. Damian played it wrong, like OKC did with Russell Westbrook when he wanted to get out of there. There are certain players, but James Harden has done this so many times. The owners should be like, no, I wish you would have. I cuss a lot, man, so I'm really trying not to.
Clips be you, bro. Come with it.
Oh, bro, I would have had way more fucking F-bombs if I knew that I could cuss.
I was writing that line too. I didn't know where we were at with that.
See my face, how I'm not cussing?
Yeah.
I'm so proud of us. I'm so proud of you and me. We did it, bro.
I didn't want to disrespect FD's show by dropping all my bombs.
You're good.
Okay, I'm trying to be real respectful. Now you got me all fired up. I missed out on so many good F-bombs I could have dropped. I'm just over the players dictating exactly where they want to go, and then the owners having to cater to them. It makes absolutely no sense. And I'm sure there were probably so many great trade opportunities for Damian Lillard, right? There were probably so many packages that could have been offered for Damian Lillard that Portland would have loved, right? And the Trailblazer one is good. It's definitely better than Tyler Hero and Jaime, right?
Yep.
So I'm over it. And Drew knows this too. We are both very pro player. Like, I'm for the players. The players generate the money. The players generate all of that. But there is some integrity involved here when you sign deals and I take my signature very seriously. And if I'm signing my name on the dotted line, then I'm committed to whatever I've signed for. And mind you, it's probably not for 60, 80, $100 million contracts at all, but that's what contracts are. And you should have to abide by them. You can't just be like, no, like James Harden should have been at Media Day today. Like, you're still a player for the 76ers.
Maybe he thought he was making a statement. I don't know what that was.
You know what people are noticing? That nobody cares. Like, we honestly just don't care about James Harden. And that's what's sad, man. That's sad. But he did it to himself.
He did. When I heard about that in the middle of the day, it didn't move me. I didn't think.
No, did you expect him to go? Nobody expected him
to be there. Well, I mean, he doubled down and was at an event the other day with someone holding a sign that Maury's still a liar.
Yeah.
So he's doubling down on stuff over and over again.
Yeah.
I mean, if he thought that a guy told him, I'm going to pay you this if you take a pay cut on a verbal agreement, because this is what this sounds like, then that's on James Harden. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, he's got to get it in writing, and maybe he learned that lesson the hard way. But, I think the hardest part about the James Harden, where is he going to get traded to, is like, who needs that? And so I'll look on that side. I have no clue where he's going to end up. Miami could use him. That's just the plain truth of the matter. Miami could use him. They need a point guard. Yeah. They need scoring. And one thing that I'll just throw out, like going back to the Drew Holiday, like, frenzy, I thought maybe Chicago might throw their hat in the ring there. And if Chicago is looking to like try and actually do something this year, I wouldn't necessarily trade for James Harden if I was the Bulls, but that's an option. And what else are they going to do? They're going to start Alex Caruso, who's really, I think, kind of reached his ceiling in the NBA as a player. He's very good, but I don't know if he can improve and get any better than he currently is. I think he's maxed out. And then you have this, kind of three other guards that they have on their squad who will try and fight for a starting role. But you could bring James Harden in there, and he could, if he wanted to, play like he did last year and lead the league in assists and just feed Levine and feed DeRozan and, maybe Vucevic. Vucevic can't catch many lobs, but he maybe a lot of layups for Vuce. I think that could be something fun.
It could be, because the Bulls have to, at some point, either during the season or after the season, they got to blow that thing up.
Right. It's been like a 2-year stall where they don't know which side of the coin to land on. It's like,
I thought was interesting. Harden didn't show up to Media Day, but Lonzo Ball did, and he's not playing.
Yeah.
Lonzo showed up?
Oh, yeah, he showed up.
Yeah, I love that.
In uniform, took pictures with his teammates.
Good.
Fully dressed. Yeah.
A lot of respect for Lonzo. It's devastating what's happened to him.
Oh, he was about to be a player. He was about to be a spot-up shooter.
Oh, man.
He was going to be something.
I really liked his game. I mean, Lakers drafted him. I was kind of excited about the draft. I wanted Tatum. Of course I did, but we had Ingram at the time. But I thought he was going to be a great player for us, for the Lakers. And I didn't see the whole LeBron, Anthony Davis thing coming until it happened. But I think Lonzo was ready to be the perfect point guard for the Bulls. When they drew up, all of these moves, I think he would have fit the bill, but it's just so sad.
My man Big John says Kobe White should be that point guard. What do y'all think about that?
We had mentioned on the last show when we had the questions. My question was, who is going to be the point guard for the Chicago Bulls, because they have so many point guards. They got I think Javon Carter, Kobe White, they got Caruso, they got the Io, right? They have a lot there. And Kobe deserves a shot at it too. But
they just re-signed him. They just gave him 3 years. So why not try him?
Just going back really fast to the Harden to the Bulls thing, though, like just thinking in my head, wouldn't you much rather have DeMar DeRozan than James Harden on your team? No matter what
to have. And then you don't have the extra stuff coming. None of those guys who are there are bringing any extra.
So the way that I think it makes any sense is for them to just trade assets. Like, I wouldn't trade for Harden at this point, especially with no options. I'm not trading Levine or DeMar or Vooch for that matter. I'm trading like a couple picks. And if you want Kobe White, you want Alex Caruso, you want one of those kinds of guys, then fine. Like maybe Patrick Williams, but I wouldn't even touch Patrick Williams. I think I like him a lot. So that's the only scenario where it makes any sense for the Chicago Bulls to do it. It wouldn't be to trade one of those key
I got
players.
a question for you all. What if Luka Doncic? What's the total impact if Luka goes through his entire career, does not win a championship at all?
Oh boy, Charles Barkley. I mean, that's the Barkley effect,
That's
right?
who he is,
I mean,
right?
that's Karl Malone. Like he's in that era where it's just you're one of the greatest players of all time.
I see him playing,
take it over the hump,
and not winning the championship.
Yeah. I mean, it's Dirk Nowitzki, except Dirk got over that hump. He did it. Dirk was able to do the thing. I don't think Luka will stay on Dallas long enough for that to happen. Like, I think there's going to be a period in time where if it gets to that level where he's got 2, 3, 4 years remaining, I fully expect for him to be not in Dallas. I mean, Mark Cuban's great to superstars. He keeps them there. He keeps them well. All the tax laws in Texas are very favorable for players there too. So I understand why they stay. But I have to assume that, there's going to be a point in which he's still so young. I mean, he's still so new in the NBA. But eventually he's going to go, okay, I'll go to the Lakers. I'll go to the Celtics. I'll go to the Heat. I'll go somewhere and I'll win a championship.
Clips, I know you got something for me.
I mean, look, Luka is so talented, and it's up to the organization to surround him with the right players. The guy likes to pass the basketball. You have to be able to knock down your shots, right? That's just what it is. He can get you the rock. You got to be able to knock down shots. They need to surround him with better players. Going back to Barkley and Ewing and Stockton, all the guys, and Malone that have never won anything, it's because Michael was there right now. And a lot of these guys, had to go through LeBron. It's really difficult. Right now, it's kind of wide open like we're talking about. There isn't that definitive badass team. There's not a Michael Jordan. There's a lot of really good players. It's going to take the team effort. It was 2011 when Dallas won, right? It was the 11 championship. Look at that basketball team that they surrounded Dirk with, right? You have the Tyson Chandlers, you have the Jason Terrys, you have all the right pieces. That's exactly what Luka needs. Awesome, you got Grant Williams. They are gonna fucking fight by February. Luka's throwing bows at Grant Williams. You heard it here first, okay?
Okay.
And I like Grant Williams, okay? But
I think Grant Williams is a great teammate, but I think he can get on the nerves of his
teammate. He's going to irk him. He's going to poke
silly
the freaking bear.
He's a very silly guy, flexing in the
right.
He's a silly guy.
And
I always say he looks like and acts like an 8th grader.
Yeah. And I think that's going to wear on Luka. Look, there are these windows with these teams, with these certain really gifted basketball players that you have to capitalize on it. You're doing like Milwaukee's doing right now with Giannis. And it's like, okay, we have this 3, 4, 5 year way. Giannis has missed 64% of his games in the past 4 years. Like, and at some point, like, look, you just have to go all in. And everybody, and I'm sorry to go back to the Clippers, but like we don't get Kawhi if we don't get Paul George, which means we had to give OKC all the assets. We went all in on it for a reason. We can talk about that.
Do you think that Shea trade was the worst trade of the NBA history?
Well, hindsight is 2020, right? Okay. That's what it is. We all knew how good SGA was. I am a firm believer that the deal was done without SGA. And then Presti's like, nah, check this out, guy. He puts his hand over the phone like, check this out, bro. I'm gonna ask him for SGA and see what happens, right? And then he's on the phone with Lawrence Frank, and he's like, "We want SGA too." And Frank's like, "Deal, get it done. We want Paul George." I think that's how it went down. I love SGA, and if you think about it right now, SGA is the player that
he's a player, man.
I
think he could be MVP of the league this year.
I think I bet you
this year. You think this year?
This year.
Oh wow, that's awesome. I would love for them to be in the top 6 seeds.
Oh yeah.
I think if he gets them into the top 5, he would have to be MVP.
That's right. It's all dependent on Chet. What can we?
Yeah.
He has game, man. Inside, outside, whatever you want. Post him up. He has a jumper. He can shoot the 3. I mean,
let me ask you, Clips. Would you trade the Western Conference Finals appearance, the first in franchise history for the Clippers that you achieved with Kawhi and Paul George, somewhat without Kawhi, for the future that currently lives in Oklahoma City. Like, would you swap those two things? Because that's essentially what we're talking about, right? Like, you got to experience the Western Conference Finals for the first time.
I feel like I'm being bullied again, Drew. I think you're doing this again. I think you're
what am I
bullying
doing?
me. I think you're bullying me right now, and I have to call you out on this next. I got bullied, FD. I got bullied a couple shows ago.
Oh, really?
Am I incorrect? Was it the first? It was the first Western Conference final that you've had.
Never been to
But it's a legit question. I know. I smile a little bit with it, but would you trade what you have now for what they have, which is, what it would look like? I don't know how good the Clippers would be if you kept Shea and didn't get Kawhi or Paul George, but it would probably look a little bit like this.
No, so first, what FD said is what is the worst trade in NBA history? Like, looking back on
Rudy
it,
Gobert is the worst trade in NBA history.
There you go. That's definitely up there. Looking back on it, SGA is the exact person that we would need for this Clipper team to win a championship, right? Looking back on it, SGA was a very talented rookie, very talented one-year guy. We didn't know. I mean, I'm sure we saw what the future was going to look like. I don't know. We thought it would look like this. Now, had we known that, we probably wouldn't have done that. But again, I'm all in on what we did. Okay, we had to get, in order to get Kawhi, who's coming off a championship, Paul George with the talent he has. When they play together, again, I sound like a broken record. When these guys are healthy and play together, we are one of the best basketball teams in basketball. So it's all reliant on the health of Kawhi and PG. Now, look, OKC is still 5-6 years away from if they can keep this core together of young guys, of winning an NBA championship. The fact that we're even talking about OKC winning a championship. So with our timeline, with Ballmer's timeline, it was it was what we had to do. But yes, I'm still pissed.
I wouldn't. That young man can get after it. Who do you think is going to be in the finals this year? Who do you think is going to wade their way through all this parity and be in the finals?
Clippers are winning it. Clippers are winning the championship this year. We are winning the championship this year. Russell
Westbrook every preseason. There it is.
Okay. What else am I going to say?
I'm just going to say the Lakers. The Lakers. No, I would love for the Lakers to be in it. I definitely think Denver's still with Jokic. I mean, he put us in our place. We were on fire. The Lakers were on fire at the end of the season. And we met a brick wall, a Serbian wall named Jokic. So Denver, man. Denver and, maybe the Celtics. I want to pick the Celtics, but I can't rely on Porzingis being like the starting center or because they lost Robert Williams in the deal. So maybe the Bucks. I'll go with that. I'll go with Nuggets and Bucks.
I don't think the Nuggets are going to win another championship at all.
You don't think so?
No, and I think Joker's ability to do what he does is all dependent on Gordon.
Oh,
at some point, Gordon's going to get some money and not be in Denver. And then we're going to find out who the Joker really is. Because in that whole run, think about the role that Gordon played in that run, playing defense on some of the best people on the other team, shooting the three, and bodying people up every night, getting no credit for it. Really, it's the Joker getting the credit. He doesn't care. That's why he was in Serbia kicking it with Joker all offseason. He knows who pays the bills.
But he's on the team this year. They didn't lose him, so I think in that vein.
But I just don't know. We just got to see. They lost some key pieces. We just got to see. Brown is gone. These like Clip said earlier. They lost some pieces that add up to something when you start playing. Yeah. They still have some pieces, so we just got to see what they're going to do. But I just don't think Denver's about to run a dynasty down. They're not about to repeat or anything like that.
I mean, if Michael Porter takes like a huge leap, and he is so talented, and he could be the third best player on that team and should be the third best player on that team. Once that guy can figure it out and stay healthy as well. I mean, he's nice. That Gordon piece, you're totally correct. He was huge for them. Huge. But I also think Christian Braun, like they got young cats. They develop people really well. I think they're nice. The Clippers are going to win the championship, obviously. Okay. But I think I think Milwaukee is if it works, it's going to be very, very scary. Or the other side of this is it completely fails. Dame gets hurt, and then Giannis is like, all right, Clippers look nice. Got the new arena coming. Ballmer, what's good? What's happening?
I'm going to say 35 games in, somebody in Milwaukee's hurt.
Okay.
Also, 35 games in, somebody in Phoenix is hurt.
Definitely.
Don't you dare mention my Clippers right now. Don't you curse them, Ricky Bobby. Don't you curse them, Rocky.
No, they're
Ricky
actually
Bobby.
a team that I would like to see do. I would like to see them get over that hump. I was hoping that when Kawhi came back at the end of last year, they were going to make a move, but it didn't happen.
He was playing incredible. He was dominating.
We were going to beat Phoenix. We were going to beat Phoenix.
He was dominating that series.
You were going to beat Phoenix.
We're going to beat Phoenix, and I just was so excited, so
he was
happy.
so good.
Mm-hmm. This is my life, dude. This is my life. I chose this life. It's okay.
What do you think about Jordan Poole in DC? What is Jordan?
I think he's gonna have a blast. He's gonna have a blast this year. He's gonna be the man. He can shoot 50 shots a game if he wants to. He won't have to play defense. They don't want to win. Yeah, I think he's gonna have a lot of fun. Him and Kuzma are essentially the 1 and 2.
They are.
And that's not. I wouldn't call that a winning duo necessarily to be the 1A and 1B, but you're going to get a lot of fun, crazy highlights, nice crossovers, crazy step back threes. He could lead the league in scoring. I mean this wholeheartedly. That's a real possibility. Outside of that, I think he'll just be happy to be out of this. Like, it's similar to Ayton. I feel like we've been monitoring Ayton and how disgruntled he was and how everyone else didn't seem to like him. Turns out that might have been the same for Jordan Poole there. So my guess is he probably feels freed and enjoying life.
Probably pretty true. Not being around Draymond, probably lowest stress level. So I always ask my guests when they come on, what's their top 10 all-time NBA players?
Whoa,
man, dude. On the spot like that?
Oh, dude, I get you're throwing. Yeah, that's a tough one.
I think I got to pull up my notes. I should have this in my notes.
Give me your top 5. Do you have a top 5?
Yeah, I mean, it's so subjective, man. It's
everybody's
so hard.
list. It's everybody's list.
I mean, look, in my opinion, 5 best ever. So Mike, Braun, Larry, Magic, and then it's like, okay, you want to go Kobe? You want to go Wilt? Do you want to go Timmy D? Do you want to go where are we going with this?
True.
So
mine's very heavy Lakers. I found it in my notes. Magic, Kobe, LeBron, Duncan, Kareem. I put Kobe. This is my favorite. So it would be Michael is the 2. Not so. I just read my list. Michael's obviously the best. He's better than Kobe. So Magic, MJ, LeBron, Timmy Duncan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. There's my 5.
So let me ask y'all a simpler question. Who's the greatest point guard of all time?
Ooh, we're good at this
question.
We've actually done it. We've done our point guard show. We've done our, which was, during COVID, we had some of the best content, some of the best podcasts that we've ever done during COVID. We made the decision to sink or swim, and we spent a lot of time on these shows. We did our point guards, we did our shooting guards, we did our centers, we did all that, and really thought out pieces for us. And I mean,
you had Stockton, didn't you?
I had Stockton at number 1 just because I knew Drew was going to go Magic, and I like how we're talking about point guards. We had to have structure. I needed my point guards. I mean, Stockton is the leader in steals and leader in assists. You want somebody that can play on both sides of the ball. Does he make his teammates better? Yes, he does. He played damn near every freaking game of his career. Okay, of his career. This guy showed up in a minivan with a lunch pail and just said, "All right, let's play basketball." And we'll go and give you 15 and 12 every single night. That's just insane. But obviously, Magic Johnson is probably the best point guard of all time. I think it's so hard to have Steph Curry as a point guard. You know what I mean? He's so hybrid. It's so difficult. Now, the more fun thing would be to ask who's your top 5 favorite point guards of all time. You know what I mean? Because I think everybody with the who's the top 5 best point guards of all time, I think everybody's going to be kind of in the same. If you know basketball, I think, if it just makes it so hard. It's like asking the top 10 players of all time. So difficult.
Well, I like it because it's a personal question, so everybody comes with their own rationale. There's not one answer to. I think only probably one answer is Mike Jordan being number 1.
Right.
But after
Could be
that,
unless you want to argue me, because sometimes I like to.
who you got? Who you got? Clips number one.
I mean, come on, bro. I used to lace Michael's shoes. I've watched Michael my whole career. I've watched LeBron his whole career. I've never seen anything like LeBron, man. I mean, we're in year 21, and this guy's got more stats than I've ever seen in my life. And I swear, if it comes out that this guy took PEDs, because they're keeping this on the low
Clips,
right now.
I was about to say something, Clips. let me just tell y'all this. I saw a play last year. Well, LeBron's coming down the court. He's going after a ball that's going out of bounds. You got the people sitting in the front row in the chairs. He jumps over those people, does a handstand, jumps back on his feet, runs down behind them, and then hurdles people and back on the court.
Like 40-year-olds aren't supposed to do that. 40-year-olds are.
Come on, bro.
Look, I believe that LeBron has taken great care of his body his whole career.
$2 million a year. $2 million a year on that body. That's what 2 million gets you.
Hyperbaric chamber.
Yep.
Eat his Wheaties.
I know.
I'm sure he's doing all
water room temperature, no ice. Okay.
I feel like he knows all. Like he has the list posted of things that he cannot take, so that he knows the list of things that right up to the limit that he can. I mean, that's if I was in his position, I would be doing the same thing. Like all of the helpful supplements that he can take, he should be taking. I mean, he's 40 years old. It's insane.
Let's
I don't
keep
know.
it real
I don't know how he's
too.
doing this.
Let's keep it real too. Like if Adam Silver found out that he tested positive for PEDs, that shit would be wiped under the carpet so fast. There is no way the legacy of LeBron.
Similar to Jordan going to play baseball.
Thank you. Same shit. Same. They're gonna let that go, and they're just gonna be like, "Can you take those PEDs and go 3 more seasons, Bron? We're gonna need you 3 more.
We're legalizing. We're going to legalize it so that you can just keep taking them. And so
get us to this TV deal. Get us one more TV deal. Okay. I need one more $250 billion TV deal, Bron.
Because in this league, he is the person that can deliver what the league needs instead of fishing around trying to find out who's who or waiting on a trade to come through. LeBron's going to give it to you.
Mm-hmm.
We all know that.
Agreed.
We all know that. I really appreciate spending time with you all.
This was fun.
Definitely fun. We appreciate you having us on. We appreciate the support that you do on our page too. We appreciate, you liking our stuff and reposting our stuff. We work really hard on it. Mm-hmm. And it's a grind. This podcast is a grind, man, doing this. And we're so blessed to have a really great community of listeners and fans from all over the world that listen to our show. And it's so easy for players, like former NBA players, to just pick up a microphone and they have 1 million subscribers that listen to their show. And for guys like us, it's a real grind. Most people give up after their 3rd show because they're like, we didn't get 1,000 downloads and all this. And, we're in year 7 now, and we're just really excited to continue doing it. And we appreciate like you that want to spend your time with us and let us come on your platform.
Well, yeah, for sure. I'd love to do stuff with you all in the future, for sure. I love talking sports and basketball and many other sports as well. But to me, there's nothing like really watching and getting into what is the nuances here, what's really going on and what's not being said in certain situations. And then pulling back from something you've seen 10, 15, 20 years ago and applying it to today. Like we haven't even talked about Ja Morant and Zion Williamson. What do y'all think about those 2 guys?
Where they Buns and Guns? Buns and Guns? My favorite duo?
Yeah.
Well, do you want us to talk about that? Do you want to talk about that right now?
Before we end, where are those 2 guys going? What's their ceiling? Where are they actually going in their career?
My God.
Go ahead, Drew.
I still think Zion probably should be MVP in like a year if he's able to play 82 games in a season.
Drew, let me just ask you this: with no visible jump shot, do you think he can win MVP?
Hold on, didn't he make 7 jump? He made like 7 threes in his first game. No, he made what was it, 4? He had 4 threes in that first game. He's had like 4 since that game. Look, I think he's one of those guys similar to Giannis that doesn't really need a 3-point shot to be an MVP. Giannis laid the path for us. I think Zion can follow very, very similarly in that path. I actually think he's the strongest player in the post that we have in the game, and that includes Giannis. That includes Embiid and Jokic. He's a freak of nature, and I just can't. I'm so bummed out every time he's not playing because all I want to do is watch him play basketball. Ja has a much easier path to MVP, and I think he'll achieve that potentially too. He's improved tremendously. His skill set, his 3-point shot. I mean, if he gets going at that 3-point shot and getting it to like the 40 percentile, even just like up against 40%, unstoppable. How can you stop that guy? They're two of the best young players on the planet, and somebody that, going back to whatever survey that was taken, those guys had to have grabbed a handful of votes, if not just for the what ifs, right? Like, what if Zion can't actually play 82 games in a season ever? And what if Ja can't figure it out in Memphis? So I'm huge fans of both those guys, and I love watching them play every second. I can't keep my eyes off of Ja when he plays. Same with Zion in New Orleans.
Clips, what you got?
I love Zion. I want Zion to be healthy. Yeah. I'm disappointed in. Please be healthy. He's got so much potential. I think Adam Silver sees him as like the golden child too. He's got a great smile. He dunks. He's highlight. He doesn't get in trouble. He's got bad choices in women, obviously. Like, he needs to get off of that. Some of these, again, these guys are young. Ja Morant. I was more disappointed in Ja the second time this stuff happened. You know what I mean? Like, I can understand the first one. Drew and I were both very disappointed in what happened with Ja. And nobody's even really talking about it. He's going to miss 25 games this year. Hopefully they learn from their mistakes. More so Ja. I always thought that Memphis needed a vet in that locker room. I always said that I thought Carmelo would have been a great guy to like sign in Memphis and just have him down there to help these young guys, because obviously they weren't listening to Steven Adams. They could care less what Steven Adams had to say. I think Ja's going to bounce back from this. And everything that I've been hearing about Zion is that he has been in the gym working his ass off. We've seen pictures of him working out, and he looks absolutely just beastly. And he's going to be a problem. I'm curious to see if like Marcus Smart's going to be that guy in Memphis, kind of take Ja under his wing and teach him how to be a pro. And mind you, I know Memphis very well. I spent a lot of time in Memphis. I know that community pretty well, and they love Ja Morant down there.
Oh, yeah, they do.
They definitely love him. The kids love him. He's a top selling jersey. Just got to get his head on straight, man. Like, remember how we were saying Kevin Porter Jr. We can do without Kevin Porter Jr. There's plenty of Kevin Porter Jr.'s. There isn't plenty of Ja's.
That's
you
true.
know what I mean? So hopefully he gets his head on straight and can figure this out, because both these guys are going to be the future of the NBA. And you know what's crazy is Drew's totally right. Like, Zion is the strongest guy in the post. I don't see anybody. And
I don't know if I disagree with that either. I think
yeah. And when he's good, he's so good. And there's like no game plan for Zion whatsoever. And that team too, like, if they could just figure it out, the Herb Jones piece, the Brandon Ingram, who now wants to get out of there, the CJ, the Zion, like, they have something special down there. Again, just so much talent going on in the NBA. And there was like that 3-week period last season where we were talking about New Orleans, like,
they were number one.
They're the number one seed.
Yeah. We're like, dude, can these guys win the championship?
Number one seed.
Right.
And that was the first set of games that, Ingram was able to play, and then he got injured later in the year. It was, that New Orleans season could have been a lot different if both Ingram and Zion stay healthy. And my guess is, the Ingram stuff, just to touch on that quickly, I bet if he plays really well, they may revisit the whole contract situation for Brandon Ingram. If he can stay healthy, if Zion and him can click, there's no reason that they can't be in the top 5 seeds in the West. There's no reason. If they just like the list of talent, they have a lot of depth now. That's the lucky part for them, is that with all these injuries, they've been able to strengthen those young guys that weren't really supposed to play. They were supposed to play 7 minutes. But now, no Zion, Herb Jones, you're in the game, baby. Like, Trey Murphy, you're in the game. Like, you're playing. You're playing a lot. So, and I truthfully think if the Grizzlies can hold it together while Ja is out, they will be a contending team.
Marcus Smart, Derrick Rose, and they brought in Marcus Smart.
Yeah, Derrick Rose. But Marcus Smart's addition to that team is perfect. He takes less bad shots than Dylan Brooks, and I think provides equal, if not better, defense. So and Marcus Smart takes plenty of bad shots, but Not as many as Dylan Brooks. So they're in a great spot over there.
It's going to be interesting. It's interesting how much we talked today about health and how that impacts a team's success overall.
It's the most important at the end of the day. I'd like to say something really quick, though. I see Big John in here with his top 5 favorite point guards, and I just got to say, he's got my boy Mark Jackson on there. Mark Jackson's on there for me, too. Mark Jackson is my Drew knows this very well. Mark Jackson is in my top 5 of favorite point guards of all time.
He should. I mean, I can't argue that. I like the way he has Tim Hardaway in there as well.
I like Tim Hardaway. I like Tim Hardaway.
No TMC.
There are some nice point guards in the history of the NBA when you really think about it.
Oh, there's too many.
Did you know in 1982, Tim Hardaway gave up his starting position on the All-Star game so Magic could start?
Love that.
I don't recall that.
Oh, yeah.
What a gentleman.
And Magic went on to win All-Star MVP, and the three-pointer at the end.
That was a big one.
Hardaway was the avenue for all that.
Fun fact: you've dropped 2 dimes on me today.
Unbelievable fact pulls today.
I know. I don't like being shown up like that. Like you dropped dimes on me today, man.
I put my research in. I try to make sure that like I'm a facts in order. I want you afterwards Googling like FD was wrong. You know that wasn't Tim Hardaway. Yeah.
Yo, FD, I see that you got the Bears hat. How happy are you with Fields right now after last weekend?
I think things are bigger than him. Actually,
yeah,
I think his growth has probably been held back because of the situation he's in. But I have said for years, and my personal friends and people I've grown up with from Chicago know, the Bears are never going to do anything until the McCaskey family does not own that team. This is from top down. Everything's in that organization. When you go out and you get a GM because you've known him for years, there's a problem with that. And we just got things going on. You got the defense coordinator quitting after week 2, saying he wants to spend more time with his family. Bro, you were just at home with your family.
The season just started.
And now you're talking about you want to go back home? So I don't understand. There's something going on there. Fields came out in the press conference a couple of weeks ago and said some things about the organization and the coaches, and they tried to take it back. There's something going on there. Then you have a lead against Denver this past weekend, 21-point lead, and you give that up to Denver. You're not giving this up to KC or some other contending team, Denver. So there's some things that's going on there. I don't even know how much longer he's going to play there. Or will he get moved, or will he want to be moved? His contract probably doesn't have too much left on it. So I just feel for Fields because I think that he's the kind of player that could do a lot with an organization that surrounds him with talent. We got Claypool, who just came in, who hasn't done anything, and he's talking about he's not getting the ball. And so there was a report today that he's not even going to be traveling he's not going to be with the team for the next game.
Right.
They're going to hold him out a little bit. So the Bears have a lot of issues. So when I went inside, I think about 85 and 86. Another fun fact, Clips. The Bears only lost 2 or 3 games the year after they won the Super Bowl, and they got put out of the playoffs by the New York Giants, who went on to win the Super Bowl. And nobody talks about that team, but that team was wonderful.
That's one of my favorite 30 for 30s is the Bears 30 for 30. That was absolutely insane. And I'm not even a football guy, but what a team that was. Don't start Drew on football or soccer, because I'm just gonna have to leave. Because I can give no insights on this, okay?
Clips, you don't have any insight on Cooper Kupp's injury and whether or not we should.
Let's talk Cooper Kupp right quick. Is it the system? Clips, just lean back right quick. Just one question. Is it the system or is it Cooper Kupp?
I think Puka Nacua is showcasing the system. That's right. Matt Stafford wouldn't be passing that many times to a guy on accident or just because he gets open because he's that good.
That's right.
But Cooper Kupp excels just like anything. Like if you put, Kobe Bryant in a system that works well for him, he's going to excel more than if you put me in that system, right? I'm not going to do hardly as well as Kobe Bryant in a system. I might succeed a little bit, but Kobe's going to do much better.
Football, because I want Clips to get back in this thing. Cooper Kupp is 30 and will not make the Hall of Fame.
He's not going to make the Hall of Fame because he's only had like 2.
That's right.
3 good seasons. I mean, one hell of a season. But does one season grant you Hall of Fame access? In the NBA, he would make it in the NBA Hall of Fame. He would make it in the NBA Hall of Fame with that one season, the Triple Crown. But I think in the NFL, it's too hard.
You know, at some point we're all in the same city or around the same city. I got to hang out with you guys.
Please. We got to go see the new
fine.
arena when this thing opens up,
Yeah,
too.
yeah. I drove by there about 6 weeks ago. Looks amazing.
Oh, man.
Looks amazing. Clips knows this.
Oh, I'm really excited
It's
to pee in all
home. The
13.
Clippers' first home. They've never had a stadium to their
They
own.
needed that. They needed to separate.
I'm going to be there. I'll be there on opening night.
Yeah, do your thing.
It's going to be the greatest day of my life because we're going to hang our championship banner the first day that we're there. And we're going to start it off so well. I already have vision. I have visions. I already know what's going to happen.
I hope Westbrook doesn't lead the league in turnovers. Let me just say that.
Okay, look, you guys are bullying me again. I think it's time for me to go. You guys are bullying me. This is what we're going to do. Okay.
I appreciate y'all, Clips and Drew. I really appreciate you all. I hit y'all up. I had been thinking for a while. I got to get on with these guys. It would be a blast. It has been a blast.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on, FD. A lot of fun talking with this. I do this anytime.
Now, before y'all go, we have a tradition around here. Well, I'll ask you who you're rolling with, and you let me know. So, Clips and Drew, who are you rolling with?
We're rolling with FD, man.
FD,
Chicago's finest. That's what we're running. We're rolling with FD.
I appreciate
even a question.
Appreciate y'all. All right. I wish the best for the Clippers and the Lakers, but I think I'm gonna be doing a 2-step in Golden State when we have this rally.
Ooh,
right. Okay.
I love it.
We'll talk again, man. We appreciate you.
Yeah. Thank you, brothers. Appreciate
Take it
you.
easy. All right.